Barbara, because rules that in theory will make work better, in reality can make work disappear. We talked to some people who live in the places where the workers are supposedly being exploited in sweatshops. We heard a different story.
I wish these people would begin to think with their brains rather than with their hearts.
Rebecca Broy is an economist who lives in India.
People get jobs in these places, their generation lives better than their parents lived.
Junarunga studies trade policy. She lives in Kenya.
Doesn't the United States have the responsibility to stop these companies from exploiting people in your country?
Exploiting people? Nobody in my country thinks about companies exploiting them. When there's a new company opening a factory, people are excited about it.
Most economists say what many Americans call sweatshops are what allowed people in now thriving places like South Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong to pull themselves out of poverty. People started in the sweatshops, but then they moved on to better jobs.
Most of them work for these companies for a while, go off and start their own businesses. It's a win-win situation for everyone.
These protests help poor people? Give me a break.
The toxic workplace for hundreds of desperate Cambodians. Obama has signaled that he wants to tighten labor standards and trade agreements. That makes sense from an American perspective. Put yourself in the sandals of a poor Cambodian working here, scavenging through the filth for plastics and metals to resell for 5 cents per pound. On a recent trip here, I met many children. Some of them walked on the pile in sandals, or even in bare feet.
Plastics. I collect plastics. I want to go to school, but we need money for rice.
There are no safety regulations or child labor protections here. There's no government oversight for working conditions. As the families rush to the trucks, some drivers plow through without regard to the human lives around them. Injuries are common, and there have been deaths. What you can't tell in this video is that the stink is incredible, and the toxic smoke burns the eyes. Sweatshop is a dirty word for us in the West, and all the criticisms of sweatshops are justified. I sure wouldn't want to work in one. But in the world's most impoverished countries, even a sweatshop job beats the alternatives: construction, prostitution, or scavenging. Manufacturing also offers one of the best hopes for mass employment in a poor country. Sweatshops are how East Asia raised living standards. But in the poorest countries, there's very little manufacturing. And meanwhile, there are countless people who can find no work other than as scavengers. She's hoping things will be different for her son.
I don't want him here. I don't want him to be like me.
But the odds aren't good, and she says she hasn't been able to give him a bath since he was 2 years old. I know it sounds strange to say so, but if we care about the poor, shouldn't we actually be campaigning for sweatshops?